What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and we need to talk about Lucid stock ticker symbol LCID because this stock is actually blowing up on a day that the markets are red. We're up over 10% actually now. I just saw that tick on the bar, so let's take a look at the chart and see what we have going on. We're up over 10%. You can see we've been pumping up both in after hours and not so much in pre-market, but during the day as well. So what's been going on with this stock? Well, there are a couple of key news events that have come out. That have really been driving up this stock price and overall just a very bullish sentiment on the stock that we've had ever since this PIPE event, right? This PIPE event that I talked about where private investment and public equity essentially got their shares distributed to them and were finally released on those holds that they had. So they were able to sell their shares, and that created a massive dip in Lucid stock price. And anyone who got in on this big dip, anywhere really below $18, is very lucky and is probably sitting pretty on on their shares right now. They've made quite a bit on those and will likely, in my opinion, continue to be making quite a bit looking over the short to mid and even the long term, really. I think that Lucid is a very good company. We're going to talk about why in this video. So first of all, what's happened also besides the PIPE event is cashless execution of public warrants, and that occurred right here. You can see this big dip that Lucid took, and the reason it took this dip was, once again, there were more shares available than had been previously, but this was actually a very good event for Lucid because until this point, people had known about the warrants, and they knew that these warrants were going to be executed and that more shares were going to be added to the outstanding float. What actually happened with this, though, is Lucid limited the number of shares that were added by doing a cashless distribution of them. And instead of allowing people to pay cash to get additional shares, they just gave them fractional shares for the warrants that they had and the value that was intrinsic to those. So they've actually done something very good for the shareholders here. And that really shows the strength of the company. And that's not what we're going to talk about today. We actually need to talk about this massive catalyst that just popped up that's been shooting up Lucid stock price. That's why we're up almost 10% on the day. It's right here. Let's see. Lucid Air officially EPA rated at 520 miles of range. Now, that's very impressive. This is their most recent car, and the EPA just rated them at 520 miles of range. Now, this is the longest range vehicle that the EPA has ever rated. And it actually beats Tesla's vehicles by a long shot. So obviously, I'm a believer in Tesla, but I'm also a believer in Lucid. And if you look at Tesla's longest range vehicle, it's the Model S Long Range Edition at 412 miles. So over 120-mile boost to the range on this Lucid vehicle. Now that could really serve to shoot up Lucid stock price over the long term, especially as more people are buying these vehicles, especially people who may be traveling more often and need them for longer range commutes if they're traveling for work, especially, or if they like going on vacations. The big complaint about Tesla vehicles or, any EV in general is that, charging stations are less numerous than gas stations, and it does take a bit longer to charge up a vehicle than to just fill it up with gas. So people don't like having to do that, and they prefer to get the longest range possible, especially if they're traveling long distances and don't want to go, to some weird charging station off of their route and end up taking a big detour just to charge up their vehicle. So this is a real big plus for Lucid stock. And if you actually look at the Lucid market cap, I'm going to do a comparison here to Tesla's market cap. Now, obviously, Tesla and Lucid are very different companies and at very different stages in their development, but Lucid's market cap is about $34 billion. And the Tesla market cap is actually about 20 times that, more than 20 times that, at $749 billion. Now, obviously, a lot of people say Tesla is overvalued, that they trade at far too high of a PE, and this does have, there are a lot of factors going into why their market cap is so high. They're very popular. They were one of the pretty much the first main EV company that people started talking about. So I'm not trying to justify Lucid stock and say that they should be reaching a market cap as high as Tesla's, because obviously, that's not going to be the case. But they are a very compelling second option, probably the second best player in the EV space, maybe NIO. But I think that Lucid is probably, the second best company in the EV space, in my opinion, at least. If I was going to have to choose a car between Tesla and Lucid, I would still take Tesla because they are, further along with the self-driving and all of that, and they do tend to have more tech in their cars. But Lucid is making a very compelling case for themselves by having this new range rating by the EPA, the longest range for any EV vehicle. So very impressive there. Now, from a technical analysis standpoint, we kind of could have predicted where this thing would end up, right? I did say in some of my other videos that we'd probably be trading around here for a little bit until shooting up into this $22 to, I believe, $28 range right here. So we ended up breaking out of this low range that we had fallen into because of the pipe news. People were expecting the pipe news to end up shooting down the stock price as it did, and some savvy investors were selling their shares right around here, breaking us below this $22 support level, which has actually acted as a support level even today. You see, we bounced off of it and got close to it a couple of times, but we're unable to break below it. And I do expect it will probably remain in this $22 to $28 range for a bit until we face some resistance, likely at 28. Maybe we bounce a little bit backwards. And over the long term, I do think we will be breaking through that and, obviously making new highs, but that could be years out. Lucid is a very compelling company, in my opinion. I think that they have great things going for them. And overall, I think that they could be one of the biggest EV players in the future, especially if they keep going how they have been and just having more amazing catalysts, like having the longest range EV vehicle. That is massive news, and that's going to drive a whole new customer segment to their business. A lot more people who are interested in travel and who maybe have jobs that require them to travel or just like going on vacations are going to be very interested in Lucid. Even wealthy individuals who may already have Teslas for their daily drivers may want to add a Lucid to their garage because, if you're wealthy enough, you may as well have the longest range EV vehicle if you like traveling and if you care about the environment. So that is really what I'm here to talk about today. That was the main news that I had for you guys on Lucid. And overall, I think it's a great company. I will definitely be buying more of their stock. And this isn't financial advice, right? I'm not trying to recommend that you guys buy more of their stock. I'm just letting you guys know what happened with them and what I think about them. It's all my opinion. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.